This is the Budget Minded Traveler Podcast, episode 36.
Welcome to the Budget Minded Traveler Podcast, your source for the tips and tactics that will inspire and equip you to travel the world. And the best part, it won't break your bank. And now, the Budget Minded Traveler herself and your host, Jackie IRL.
We're so grateful to Osprey Packs for partnering with us and supporting the podcast, so please stay tuned for more about them later on. I have an opportunity for you to join me in real life for some real travel. Here's the latest Jump Adventures update. We are going to Greece for a bike and boat island hopping adventure this May 9th to 16th, 2025, and we still have space left. Check out jumpadventures.com to learn more and book now. We're going to have a yacht all to ourselves with ensuite cabins on board, so you get to sleep in the same bed every night as we start in Athens and make our way west toward the island of Corfu. You'll have your own bike for the week, e-bike if you want one, for cycling the islands as we go, in between meals crafted by our private chef on board, and all the relaxing you want to do on the top deck under the Mediterranean sun. These bike and boat adventures are our most carefree and relaxed trips. All you have to do is say yes and show up, and there's still space. Head over to jumpadventures.com to grab your spot now, and we'll see you there. Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for tuning in to episode 36 today. I'm about to sound like a broken record because if you listen to this podcast, you know that I start almost every episode off by saying, I'm so excited about what we're going to talk about today. But you know what? It's the truth. One of the things I have discovered in the creation of this podcast is that there are so many programs and companies and organizations out there that I've just never heard of. I mean, this is kind of basic knowledge, but you know, I've been traveling for 12 years now, and there are still organizations that are huge that I just haven't come across. And there are so many people who step up and say, hey, I know about this and I want to talk about it. And this is what happened with today's subject and today's interviewee, whom you guys have actually heard before. It's Julie Smith, and she was here for episode 29. She is the expat living in London who took her corporate America job overseas, and she told us all in episode 29 about how to do that. And then we were chatting afterwards, and she mentioned this organization that I'd never heard of before, and we're going to get into that today. And that is trustedhousesitters.com. There are some awesome potential, opportunities involved in this program. And I, for one, am very excited to try it out. I mean, just to give you guys an idea about what this is about, you can sign up for Trusted House Sitters and have someone take care of your house and your pet, which is huge for people like me who own a dog. Or you could use it to travel overseas and take care of other people's houses and get free accommodation simply by looking after someone's house while they're away. So super cool program. And if you find yourself at all interested, definitely stick around to the end because I have some pretty cool news for those of us who want to join the program. So stick around for that. I hope you guys are excited to learn about this as well. And here we go with Julie. All right, Julie, you are actually the first person to come onto my podcast twice. So Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Thank you. And just for the listeners, Julie was actually only a few episodes ago. I think it was episode 29. You came on and told us all about your expatness, living in London and working overseas. And what the listeners did not hear from that episode was our chat afterwards, right. Which you mentioned a program that I was just like, oh my goodness, you have to come back on. That's what this means. And so today we're going to be talking about that program, and that is Trusted House Sitters. And I cannot wait. I've been looking forward to this interview since our last one, basically, because I think this is going to be a really great opportunity, especially for people who have animals or love animals and travel a lot. So why don't you kind of take it away? Tell tell us about this Trusted House Sitters. What is it, and like what's the website, etc.?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's the best thing that I've ever found when it comes to traveling, and I'm not even kidding.
This is probably a great start.
Which is probably why when I talked to you last time and I was like, you obviously do this, right? And you said, no, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And I just like fainted on the floor. So basically, this is the specific website is the leading website. The one that I'm very familiar with is called trustedhousesitters.com. It is there's probably now at this point a few knockoffs. This website was started in 2010, so it's been around for a few years. But as far as I know, it's the leader in the industry. And the industry is basically a share system where you exchange staying in someone's house for free in exchange for basically watching over their house while they're gone. And I would say usually, but not always, there is some kind of pet care involved, because that's frequently when people need someone to be watching over their house.
Exactly. This makes a lot of sense.
I know, it's amazing. So the way that I had heard about Trusted House Sitters years ago, but I was living in New York City in a high-rise that really, it would have been very difficult to do any kind of, have someone stay. Anyway, it's very complicated. Lots of, it's just hard there. But living in London, where I am now, it is like been a lifesaver for my husband and I, because we have a dog, we live in London, and we want to travel all the time. And it is very expensive to do traditional pet care while you go away. And it's just like, it's probably double the cost of the US. It's just ridiculous. So I looked back into this site as an option for what can we do with our also elderly dog so that he doesn't have to leave his house, so that we don't have to mess with his schedule too much.
Exactly.
So that we can take off for weekends and weeks here and there and explore Europe while we're living here. So that's how I got into it. The website, and I'll explain this in as much detail as you want to hear, but the website essentially allows you to post a listing saying, hi, I'm going away these weeks. I'm really looking for someone who loves beagles and, loves city living, and this is my neighborhood, and let me know if you're interested. And then people who have signed up at the site as sitters can see my posting and they can respond to it. There is a fee on both ends to join, which in this case I actually feel really comfortable with, because that the people who've joined are serious about it.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes me feel a lot better knowing about it.
Yeah. And it does to me too. And we have used, I want to say 5 or 6 different sitters, and we've just met the most amazing people through this service. It's amazing. And it's free for us and it's free for them. And it is kind of the best of all those worlds combined.
So once you pay the fee, then there's no more, there's zero expectation of exchange of money, right?
Right.
Okay.
And there is a way, if you wanted to, but I've never seen anybody do it, to check a little box to say, would you charge for your services? But I don't think anybody does it, because the whole, it's a whole exchange. Like, why would I ever use somebody who would charge when 100 other people wouldn't charge,
Right. And as the sitter, you guys live in London, and therefore the sitter is getting to stay in London for free. London is, expensive. So that's a great exchange right there.
Yeah. And there are, last I checked, there were listings in, I want to say 100 countries at any given time. And they're in small towns, big cities, middle of the nowhere, all over the place, and for really varying lengths of time, which the people that we have used are all people who have some kind of interest of traveling on the cheap. 2 of the people that we've had were retired professionals and had some flexibility in their schedule, but just didn't, it was helpful to have a place to stay. It's a home. It has a kitchen, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Another person who stayed in our place was a woman who worked for the Department of Defense in Australia, who was taking a year off from her job to travel Europe and stayed here as like 1 week of her travels around Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a wide variety of people. I saw this one listing because I was just interested. It's on some like ranch in Mozambique, Africa, and it's 3 months.
Whoa.
So I think the owners go away every year for the same time. And basically, I'm thinking if you're a writer, if you're an artist, if you're anybody who has any kind of location flexibility, why wouldn't you go there for 3 months out of the year? So.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to like explore this site. I mean, like over 100 countries.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, correct me if I'm wrong, but these people who are staying in your place, they don't necessarily live anywhere near you, right? They're just kind of traveling through. So you have an opportunity to get your house sat and your pet taken care of no matter where you live because people travel.
Exactly.
This is awesome.
In fact, we've had 2 people from the U.S. stay here. We've had the one person from Australia. We've had several people who live in the U.K. I put up some really random posts just to see what would happen for people who were interested in regular weekend sits. So they were people who I assumed would maybe lived in the UK, but maybe wanted to come to London more frequently. And I found these people who were like, yeah, I'm available 3 weekends in the next 4 months. And I'm like, great, you can stay here. So we worked out little, deals like that. So it's really kind of whatever you make of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's amazing.
So question for you. I use couch surfing and people are often very apprehensive about using couch surfing because and I'm not talking about the fact that it's a free program. Like let's leave that behind for a second and just focus on how you pick people. Exactly. House. Because in couch surfing, and this is what I say, it's actually really safe because everyone has a profile and you can leave reviews for people. They call them references. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, like if you stayed at my house, I'd say, oh yeah, Julie's, really cool. We got along really well. We went out for whatever. And I'd invite her to come back anytime. And this is on your profile. So the next person who you asked to stay at their house will see that. Or if we had a really bad experience, I could say that on there and then no one would ever let them into their house, basically. So that's kind of like the safety net with couch surfing. Is there something similar to this? Because this is your baby, like your dog, he's my baby, my dog is. And if I invited someone to come into my house and actually live here and like take care of him, that's a lot of trust. So where do you muster that trust? Where does that come from?
You're right. And I think I'm particularly a trusting person. So I have never had any qualms about this, but I think your average person definitely does. So yes, first of all, when you sign up, let's say I signed up as a house sitter, and you can have an account for one or the other or both, by the way. Okay. So I'm signed up as a house sitter, and you first fill out a profile. So in the profile, there's a section for a background, introduction about yourself. There's a section for why I want to be a house sitter, and there's a section for references.
Okay.
So usually when someone first signs up, they do several character references or references from people that they may have house sat for, just friends or family who can vouch for them in that way.
And does this person actually go on the internet themselves?
Yes.
And write? Yes. Okay, perfect. So it's not like you're making it up.
No. I have been asked for references now because of my, experience with people. I get an email notification. Jackie wants a reference, and then I'm able to fill it out myself. So they have no control over what you're writing about them. And then once you do a house sit with someone else in the network, I get a prompt after the dates are over, because the system also tracks the dates that I had requested.
Yep.
So I get a prompt saying, oh, it looks like Jackie just stayed at your house. Don't forget to fill out a reference for her. Plus, you would probably be saying, oh, well, I want to build up my references. So would you mind putting in a reference? Again, it's all done via email so that there's no fake references.
We'll come right back to that. Let's take a moment now to thank our wonderful show sponsors. Osprey is the market leader in technical outdoor, travel, and everyday packs. And I've personally used Osprey packs since 2015. My favorites are the Fairview Trek 50 for multi-day hikes, the Cirrus 24 for day hikes, the Transporter Rolling Duffel 60, which is my trusty check luggage for faraway adventures, and of course, the countless packing cubes I use to organize everything that goes in them. We are proud to support each other on the podcast and beyond. We love getting outside, and we want to see more people outdoors. So find out more and join us at osprey.com. Done. Okay, so this is exactly the same that's exactly how it works on couch surfing.
Yeah, and I find actually, I have also seen it taken basically one step further. So whereas in couch surfing, usually the host is there with you, obviously in this case, you're leaving somebody else in your house. So for instance, with one of our house sitters, she wanted to meet us via a Skype chat. So she just, because to make sure she felt comfortable with us as well, because she was going to be, and can I see, even though you posted pictures of your house online, can I just like see it behind you to make sure that you actually live there?
Okay.
And not in some like questionable situation. I've also been asked by someone who house sat for me. She was working on another house sitting arrangement, and someone that was going to have her house sit for them wanted to specifically contact people she had house sat for before. So like I had a phone call with somebody who was thinking about using the same person. So it's as far as you want it, you feel comfortable taking it. And most of the time, I mean, I would say every person I've ever asked, like, there's always people who are, willing to offer up references. There's a lot of unasked for, like, what do you want to know about me so that you feel comfortable with me?
Right. Okay.
And probably because of that whole I'm leaving you in my house alone factor, there's a lot of, kind of easiness about, do you mind if I call you? Can I have a Skype chat with you? Can you just like, I've seen those reviews online, but can you also just like hook me up with one of those people so I can just talk to them about you? And that's totally fine via trusted house sitter.
I mean, that's definitely a step further, but that's good because I feel like that would put a lot more people's minds at ease about the whole situation. So yeah.
And I know that another thing that you are allowed to do is to upload a police check or like a background check. I've had people offer that for me, but I've never taken them up on it just because, by that point I've loved them already and they're, I'm already hooked. So I haven't needed that, but it's something that I've also seen people offer up if a potential homeowner feels uncomfortable still or just isn't quite sure about the service or isn't quite sure about the whole idea.
Okay, awesome. And then what is the fee?
Oh, so I just looked online just to see what it was. And it looks like, so there are 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and annual options. And the annual, which you get an account for both to be a homeowner or a house sitter or both, it's under $100. I want to say it's $95 as of today when I checked. Mm-hmm. And they always have discounts going on their website for people who are signing up for the first time. Like today they had a discount for 25% off because of the new year.
Oh, so, wow. Okay.
I think it's, and then I have now been on it for 2 years. So I got reminded, don't forget to like renew. And it was in pounds, but about the same amount every year. So $100.
I'm definitely going to be linking to that on the show notes page so that we can, I'll put all the prices on there, so whatever they are right now, so people can see, and then maybe there will be a deal going on when we launch this thing. So that'll be, this is really, really intriguing. So the people that you've had, you said a couple of retired people, are they like do you see on this site, are there mostly singles or are there a lot of couples? Do they vary a lot in ages? Like, are there young people? Or do you see everything?
So I've seen a lot. So my dog happens to really prefer women. So we've ended up having only single women staying at our place just because he's a little weird about guys.
Which is good to know if you're going to be doing this. You don't want to put anybody in an uncomfortable...
I put that in my little post. I say, just so you know, my dog prefers women. So then other people know not to respond to that ad. But there's a wide mix. I would say if I had to just give you like what I see, I would say it tends to average a little older, maybe 40s plus.
Okay.
A mix of couples and singles.
Okay.
But I have had maybe 30 to 40% of the responses are younger people my age or even younger, who either have some flexibility in their schedules. And I only mention the flexibility because it's not like you can't have like a normal job and also do this. But when you're searching through these listings and you see someone's dates, depending how far away the dates are, you might say, oh, well, I could never leave work on those dates, so I won't respond. So I tend to see a lot of people who have some little bit of flexibility, like I work for myself, so your dates look great, or, it tends to be what I see, but I'm sure you could make it work no matter what. But that's why I've seen a lot of retired folks or people who have kind of location independent work that they can do from wherever, or are teachers. I see a lot of teachers. So people who can travel over these longer breaks in their schedules.
Right. And I think that there are a lot of aspiring long-term travelers who are going to be listening to this. And so those people too, I mean, they're on the go, they're on the road. And something like this could even help them map out their route, because they could potentially move from house to house and, never pay for lodging, which is kind of a crazy thing, especially in an expensive place like Europe.
Yes. And I follow several blogs of long-term travelers, and this is how they spend a portion of every year is doing this so that they can keep their accommodation costs down. Definitely. I mean, without something like this or couch surfing or a combination of both, those accommodation costs can go so high. So it's definitely like a trick of the trade for people who travel permanently or travel for years and years.
Gold mine. This is why you said you've heard of this, right? And I was like, I can't believe it, really. I mean, I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And as far as what I've seen people asking as far as responsibilities go, so let's say you quote unquote apply for a house that you have emailed with the person, you really like it, you're like, great, I'm going back to Costa Rica for 3 months this summer, it's going to be amazing. Then you and the homeowner basically decide the rules or the arrangement between the two of you.
Okay.
So it's always been for me very well. First of all, I have one dog and he is really easy, so it's a pretty seamless. There's not much to talk about. But I have seen some listings for farms for people to stay in guest houses off season, where there might be more looking after property than what I have, which is no property.
Right.
So it can really vary, but it's usually really well laid out in that listing, because hopefully the person putting up the listing is trying to whittle down the people who are interested just by being really specific about what that listing entails.
Right. And that's really important, because you want to get the right person in who's going to be dedicated to, I mean, if you have a whole farm and you have horses and goats or whatever, and that person needs to be able to take care of this, the animals. And so you probably want someone with a little bit of experience. I mean, do you come across a lot of dog lovers, people who travel who just love dogs?
Yes. And actually one of my favorite things that people do is when they use in my little posting, I use our dog's name. And when somebody else writes back to me and uses his name, like, oh, I saw your picture of your dog Basil. He's so cute. Aww. I'm like, oh my God, I love you. Okay.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like things you can do to kind of boost that, me catching somebody, because I get, as you can imagine with London, it's kind of I'll get like 100
Wow.
inquiries for every post.
Wow.
That wouldn't happen everywhere, I'm sure, but
I don't think that would happen in Bozeman, Montana.
although, as we talked about, Bozeman is kind of a hot place to be right now. So
that's true. It is kind of a tourist destination. So yeah, like we said, you never know. You never know. People are going to be traveling anywhere and everywhere. So you might as well try it, right?
Right. Exactly.
So do you have any tips about, actually, we talked about this. You're going to be providing us with some tips for filling out your profile. And we're actually going to do that in a separate blog post. So that'll be published at the same time as this podcast. So you can look for that. I will link to it on the show notes. But can you give us a sneak peek of what some of those tips are going to be?
Sure. I mean, and I'll go into more detail, obviously, when I have some space to write it out. But I would say, because this is kind of growing in interest, it's a really nice time to kind of come into it, but it's also, so it's not fully saturated market or anything, but there is, for any given posting, there might be a lot of people also interested in it. So when you're responding to those posts, just be, as I would say, professional about it. If you can read the post carefully and respond, don't, kind of do a personal response to those instead of just like a little form note, like, hey, I saw your post. I liked it. Email me, no, I'm not going to email you. Also, when people have images of themselves with a dog as one of their profile pictures, for me as a dog owner and lover, like I see that and I'm like, okay, check. Like you just check the little box of my little trust level, I guess.
Okay.
I would say, if you get a response from someone saying, hey, you're one of my like few people that I'm really interested in, you are now like on the clock to make sure you email promptly, and you don't know how many people that person is trying to sift through. So anything you can do just to be professional about it, write back promptly and, provide the information that someone is looking for, and, just be, responsible about it.
Right.
Because if there's just enough people out there that if someone isn't like that, then, off the list.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if you're in like, but, well, yeah, but that's important. I mean, especially if you have a pet that someone's taking care of. I mean, but what a great opportunity. I feel like this is opening doors in lots of ways for us.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's been a lifesaver for me as far as making us able to travel more frequently and in the way that we want, with able to leave our dog at home so he's not like, having to be carted around. It's like, it's literally the best thing I've ever heard of. And so I tell everybody I see to like sign up immediately, because it's just, it's such a great idea.
Like you're going to wish that you had used it for a long time. Yeah, I could see that. This has been so great. Is there anything else that we should know? I mean, I'm going to link to the website on the show notes page, and we're going to have this blog post from you for tips for filling out your profile and kind of how to interact with people, which is going to be great. I am definitely going to read it. Yeah, I'm excited to use it. But is there anything else that we should know going into this? I mean,
it's fairly, I will say the website's fairly self-explanatory. They have lots of resources actually on their website as far as, don't forget to complete this part of your profile, and trying to kind of make sure that your profile when you go on is as, complete as possible, so that as people click on it, it'll show you in the best light possible. It's a fairly user-friendly service. All the emailing is done within the site, so you don't have to worry too much about finding people and remembering people's usernames and all that stuff. The one thing that we've done when we've had people come into our home is we typically overlap with them for a full day before we leave, just because it's like one one more way to make us all more comfortable with the situation and show them how to use our oven. And this is how you use the washing machine. And
introduce them to the dog. Yeah.
And let's go on a walk with our dog and we'll show you his favorite park.
Yes, exactly.
So that kind of, if a homeowner doesn't suggest to you right away, let's overlap a little bit, it's something that I think it would be worth it for anybody to do, just because it would help someone coming into a new home to feel more comfortable about what they're about to do.
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
So it's always worked out really well. We have dinner together, we have, it's just a nice way to feel good about what's about to happen.
Yeah. So, and you're friends by then. I mean, yeah.
We've been we're all friends on Facebook. I mean, it's seriously. So I just got Christmas cards from 2 house sitters. I mean, it's amazing. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly though,
do it.
I get that though, because this is how it works with couch surfing. I mean, it could be a weird thing at first. You're going to be inviting a stranger into your home. And then as soon as you meet them, you have so much in common. I mean, you pick this person, right. you can read their profile. You get to say yes or no to them. And therefore you have probably things in common and things to talk about, and you just become friends. And then all of a sudden the next day it's they're gone already, but you're friends on Facebook. And I mean, we had 3 people from couch surfing at our wedding. So
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I would imagine that's, I mean, that gives me, I guess, peace of mind, because I know how much I love couch surfing, and that's a free program. And this one you're paying for, you're getting, legit, trustworthy, responsible people who are willing to fork over money to be part of this program. So this is awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is. Go do it.
Julie, again, you're so helpful. What else are you going to share with us in the future?
I have to think about a new topic so I can be your third visitor.
Come back 3 times before I have someone else on here twice. No. I'm going to link to your blog again, Drive on the Left. It's just fun. And then we'll keep in touch about future topics. Definitely. Is the word I'm looking for. And yeah, I guess thank you so much for sharing all of this information. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
All right. Well, I really hope that there are some of you out there who are just as excited as I am to explore trusted house sitters. I do have a bit of good news. Actually, we have 2 pieces of good news and 1 piece of bad news. So I'll start with the bad news. First of all, the New Year sale that Julia was referring to is over. It's not quite New Year anymore, so I was afraid of that anyway. But that sale is no longer in existence. And at this moment, there are no sales going on the website, but the prices are still the same, and I'm going to go ahead and list those on the show notes page as well. And for the good news, the blog post is ready for you guys to basically guide us in filling out a good profile so that we can get noticed. And there are some really good tips in there. So I'm going to go ahead and publish that at the same time as this episode. So it'll be online for you, and you can reach it at from the show notes page at thebudgetmindedtraveler.com/36. And the other really cool piece of news here, good news, is that I actually reached out to Trusted House Sitters, and they want to extend a discount to you. That means we have our very own private discount for the Budget Minded Traveler listeners. It's 10% across all the plans. So whether you decide you want to be a house sitter or you want your house sat, it doesn't matter. Whichever plan you choose, you can use the promo code BMT10 to get 10% off of your plan, which I think is super awesome. So one thing that I would ask you to do is go to the show notes page, thebudgetmindedtraveler.com/36, and check out the blog post that Julie wrote and check out the notes and use the link on that page because we do need to track it. So there you go. Everything you need to know about Trusted House Sitters, you've just learned. So good luck to everybody who's going to be signing up and using that. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. Or if you already have a story, if you're already part of it, please comment on the show notes page. There is a comment section on every show notes page, and we'd love to hear from you if you have additional comments about your experience with the program. So there you go. I hope that helps to fuel your travel plans and maybe stack up your savings a little bit more since you won't be spending just so much. So anyway, on another note, before we go, I just wanted to extend a thank you to all of you guys who have first of all, who have nominated me for the podcast awards. That's super awesome. Thank you so much for that. And then if you have left a review on iTunes, I think you would have to be a podcaster to understand how much those 5-star reviews mean to us. They keep us going. And so thank you so much to all of you guys who have actually taken the time out of your day to listen to this podcast, to support me, and to actually go onto iTunes and leave a review for me. Even the ones that just hit the 5 stars without leaving the written review, I still see that number. It's still super encouraging. And podcasting is a big job. And so we really, any podcaster would truly appreciate, any feedback. So thank you guys so much for reviewing. You are awesome. And that's it for this week. So we'll see you guys again soon. Have a great one.